All right, all right. Good morning to everybody out there. Can you hear me, see me loud and clear? Like I said, we've been trying out some new software here lately. We're trying to make the live stream experience as nice as possible, let's just say, as pro as possible. So hopefully I'm getting closer and closer to achieving that goal. It's good to see folks already up in the chat this morning. What's up to everybody who's here? Good morning to you, said Jeff B's in the building back again. Remy, how's it going? We've got Zamir in here. Andy Lopez, what's happening, Andy? George is in the building. Who else we got? Jay, Eric, Dave, Callan. What's up to you, Callan? Travis is in here. He's here just about every single morning. Good to see you, Travis. Who else do we got here? We got George, Hayden. Man, a lot of familiar faces, some new ones. What's up to you, Anthony? Good to see you. Osmosis Jones is in the building. Good to see you, Osmosis Jones. 3B's in here. Good morning to you. Corey, what's happening? Sloan, good to see you. Alexis is back again. Elvin, howdy to you. Cute Animals is in here. What's up, gang? What's up to you, too? Emmanuel says, good morning. Bad day for me yesterday. Looking to bounce back. Yeah, I think a lot of us are looking to bounce back. Yesterday's NBA slate went to hell in a handbasket, man. There were some picks that I put out there that hit, and there was, just a lot of them that just did not work out. But hey, all we can do is try to get our money in good each and every day. So we're going to look to do that again. We got 9 games instead of 5. Hopefully we don't get a bunch of injury news like we got in yesterday's NBA slate. Unfortunately, that ended up turning the tables on us, so to speak. We had, the likes of Gary Trent, OG Anunoby out for Toronto. For Memphis, obviously, Ja Morant was out. We had Andrew Wiggins pop up on the injury report as being questionable. That kind of threw me for a loop. So a lot of different things out there that kind of went weird, but yeah, we're gonna bounce back. We're gonna leave the past in the past. But thank you so much for everybody who's joining me this morning. What did you guys think about that new little intro? Were you digging the music? Were you digging the graphics? Were you digging the vibes? Hopefully it sets the mood, sets the tone for the live streams going forward. I hope you liked it. I've invested some money here trying to upgrade the streaming experience. So yeah, I want to make it a more enjoyable experience for everybody out there. But yeah, we're going to get into some player prop research. As I mentioned, 9 NBA games to talk about. So let's not waste too much time. If you're not subscribed yet, please go ahead and hit subscribe. We're on our way to 2,700 subs. Of course, the longer term goal here for the month of December, we need about 300 subscribers to hit 3,000 subs by January 1st. January 1st, if you weren't aware, that's my 1-year anniversary on YouTube. I'm trying to hit 3K by January 1st. I can't do it alone. I can't create a bunch of fake accounts and go subscribe to my own YouTube channel. So that's where you come in. If this is your first time here, please hit subscribe. Make sure you turn on them notifications as well, because I go live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern time. We do NBA player prop breakdowns. That's the focus. We do the research together live and in real time. And I've helped a lot of people win money. And hopefully I'm going to help some of you folks this morning win some more money. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're turned on with those notifications and whatnot. And absolutely hit a like on this video if you're liking what I'm putting down. So let's go ahead and start digging into it, folks. We got 9 games. So let's go ahead and see what the slate has in store. We've got the Denver Nuggets at the Orlando Magic tipping off at 7 p.m. Lots of red here. That means there's a lot of guys that are already ruled out on both teams. Now, for the Magic, it's the same cast of characters for the most part. As you'll see, we have Jalen Suggs now on the injury report for the Orlando Magic. That's unfortunate. He fractured his thumb, but one name that you don't see on the injury report is Cole Anthony, so maybe he gets back in the lineup for Orlando tonight. Over on the Denver side, we've got Michael Porter Jr. In case you haven't heard, it sounds like he's going to miss the rest of the season for the Denver Nuggets, unfortunately. But other than that, nothing real impactful for the Denver Nuggets. So let's move it on down here. Atlanta Hawks at Indiana Pacers tipping off at 7 p.m. Over on the Indiana side, we've got Miles Turner as a game-time decision. I believe that's Justin Holiday already ruled out. Over on the Atlanta side, Cam Reddish is a game-time decision. No DeAndre Hunter, no Bogdanovich for Atlanta, so they're dealing with some injuries there. 7 p.m., we've also got the Minnesota T-Wolves at the Washington Wizards. This game doesn't have a ton of injury news. Same old cast of characters for the Washington Wizards. Over on the Minnesota side, Ant Edwards is on the game-time decision list, as is Jalen McDaniels. Pat Beverly already ruled out. Jared Vanderbilt also on the game-time decision list. So they got some injury news there that we need to keep an eye out on. Then we got the Cleveland Cavaliers at Miami Heat tipping off at 7:30 p.m. For Cleveland, Colin Sexton continues to sit. He tore his meniscus. He'll be out a while. We've got Dean Wade and Cedi Osman already ruled out for this game. For the Miami side, we must keep an eye on both Tyler Herro and Jimmy Buckets. Jimmy Butler, who is also a game-time decision. Also, Bam Adebayo on the game-time decision list. So keep an eye on this Miami Heat squad. They have had some guys sit out. I mean, stars like Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo. There's a chance going against Cleveland that maybe they think they don't need to play all their starters. Maybe they end up sitting Butler. Maybe they end up sitting Bam. Philadelphia at Boston. This should be a fun game. 7:30 p.m. It's always a good contest when these two teams meet. For the Philadelphia side, obviously Ben Simmons continues to sit, but the real news here is Jaylen Brown. We got to keep an eye on his injury status. Currently a game-time decision. 8 p.m. brings us the Charlotte Hornets at the Milwaukee Bucks. Caleb Martin, game-time decision. Mason Plumlee already ruled out for the Charlotte Hornets, so they'll be without their starting big man. And then over on the other side, Brook Lopez, Dante DiVincenzo still out for Milwaukee. Moving it down to 8 p.m., the Houston Rockets at Oklahoma City Thunder. Didn't these two teams just play? I feel like they played each other the last game, or that they've played each other a lot this season. Anyway, Jalen Green is out for Houston. No DJ Augustine. And then over on the OKC side, Derek Favors is also out. Probably the biggest injury news for them. 8 p.m., Dallas Mavericks at New Orleans Pelicans. Kristaps Porzingis, keep an eye on his injury status. He is currently a game-time decision. Otherwise, not a whole lot of other impactful injury news. And finally, the last game, the late night hammer, another battle for LA. We've got the Kings versus the LA Clippers this time instead of the LA Lakers. Look out for Harrison Barnes, Marvin Bagley III. Those guys are both game-time decisions. And then over on the Clippers side, we've got Batum, who is out, and Kawhi Leonard obviously continues to sit out for them. So that's your big injury news there. Oh my goodness gracious sakes alive! While I was busy flapping my gums, we got an enormous super chat from Craig Fields. Very, very generous of you. Craig says he just wanted to send some monetary love this morning. He made $2,000 on a $200 4-pick power play, picking Desmond Bane's threes. Fantastic pick. Desmond Bane was absolutely on fire last night. Chris Paul's assists. Great pick there. He was at 8.5 assists. Isaiah Stewart and Draymond Green's rebounds. Just a little thank you, man. Craig, man, that means the world to me. Seriously, bro. I don't expect anything from anyone. I get on here, do this out of the kindness of my heart. I'm trying to build a brand here, trying to build a community around player props, around sports. So I'm just looking to bring people together and help as many of you folks out as possible. Craig, I'm so blessed, and I'm glad that you were blessed last night with such a big win. Thank you so much for paying it forward, my brother. I appreciate you, really, sincerely, truly. Thank you, Craig. I appreciate that, man. Wow. That's awesome. Honestly, did not expect that. Wow, caught me off guard. All right. let's get it together. We got to get composed here. We got 9 games we got to talk about. We got to win Craig and all the rest of you some more money on today's NBA slate. So let's go ahead, sign into props.cash. While that's loading, the site that you see up here is called PrizePicks. PrizePicks is where I play my fantasy points, my player props. It's changing the way that daily fantasy sports is played. You no longer have to battle it out with hundreds or thousands of people for the top prize in a GPP or anything like that. With PrizePicks, it's just you versus the projections. And when I say you, I mean you and me. We're on the same team here, going against PrizePicks, going on against the other sports books out there. So anyway, all you do, pick your favorite player, pick your favorite prop. You parlay those together. You could go 2 picks, 3 picks, 4 picks, or 5 picks. You can win up to 15 times your money. Check out prizepicks.com. Use promo code Curry. If you never deposited on PrizePicks before, your first deposit when you use promo code Curry or the link down in the description will get you a 100% instant deposit match on your first deposit up to $100. So go ahead, check it out. And then we are loaded up here on props.cash. If you're not familiar with them, they offer probably the best player prop research tools in the business right now. You got everything from NFL, NBA, NHL, and MLB all in one spot over on props.cash for just $19.99 a month. So that is what we're doing here. That is what we're using to do our player prop research. Sloan P has just subscribed to the channel. Thank you, Sloan, for the sub. Appreciate you joining us here and being a part of what we're doing here every single morning. All right, guys, let's get into it. Points props. We got Seth Curry at 13.5 points, 63.2% hit rate for the course of the season. Now, what I like to do on props.cash, though, is I like to change this to a 10-game sample size. I like to see a more recent sample size, how guys are doing in like the last 10 games. And then I look at that and kind of compare that to how they've done in their last 5, and we kind of roll from there. So Tyrese Maxey is at 15.5 points. We're going to get him up on the PrizePicks board at 15.5. Taking on the Boston Celtics tonight. As you can see, he's got an 80% hit rate. Now, a lot of those games, we must say, were games without Joel Embiid, without Tobias Harris around. So Tyrese Maxey could be a little bit of a trap play here, but at 15.5 points in his last 5 games, 60% hit rate. He did fall short against Minnesota and fell very short against Orlando. I know he hit his fantasy points against the Orlando Magic back on the 29th, so maybe he's more of a fantasy point play, but let's take a look at Tyrese Maxey here. As I mentioned, the likes of Joel Embiid and company are back in the lineup for Philadelphia, so we might want to be careful here on this prop despite the high hit rate. Let's go ahead and take a look at it, though. His last 10 games, 80% hit rate. We already mentioned that. His last 5 games, not as good. You're starting to see things decline here. If we look at the 5-game view, 28, 24, 19, 15, and 9. So a very steep downward slope here for Tyrese Maxey. Be careful with this prop. Now, right now at 15.5 points, he is a betting favorite to go over 15.5, a minus 122 betting favorite. Looking at the averages, 18 points per game, 22.1 over his last 10, 19 over his last 5. Moving it down here, let's look at this matchup against the Boston Celtics. This should be a fun game. They rank top 10 in points allowed, top 10 in field goal percentage allowed, and top 10 in three-point field goal percentage allowed. Where they struggle is in the free throws allowed category. So if we have any Philadelphia 76ers players up for free throw props on PrizePicks, you might want to consider taking them. Like Joel Embiid, for instance, if they put him up for his free throw prop, it might not be a bad look. They really struggle, though, in point guard defense. So if you consider Tyrese Maxey a point guard, I mean, I guess you can. He's kind of a combo guard to me, but they rank 24th in point guard defense. So kind of give you an idea of the matchup here. This game does have kind of a lower implied total, just 206.5 points with Boston as a 3-point favorite at home. Looking at his minutes, getting plenty of run here in his last 5 games, over 35 minutes per game, almost 36 minutes per game. His last 5 games, though, we're looking at the field goal attempts, and they're starting to kind of drop off. As I mentioned, Embiid and Tobias Harris being back in the lineup, they're going to soak up a ton of usage, so it might be time for us to take our foot off of the gas when it comes to firing up Tyrese Maxey. But nonetheless, let's get you a projection on his points today. And for that, we go to numberfire.com. Totally free site for you to check out. Just one of a few different sites that you can use. RotoWire offers some free points projections, fantasy points projections. You could also check out Betting Pros. That's another one. That's a really good one for player props. But Tyrese Maxey projected for 15 points tonight. So they do not believe he goes over 15.5. And in his last two games, he hasn't. And like I said, you got some of the big dogs back in the lineup for Philadelphia. So despite the high hit rate, just be careful with this. Like I said, this could be a trap. This could be a potential landmine. We don't want you stepping on any landmines tonight. So let's look at some other ones that have been doing well. Darius Garland, 18.5 points is his number tonight. 80% hit rate in his last 10 games, minus 114 over. We talked about him a couple days ago on this show. Tyrese Maxey. Darius Garland has been getting a ton of volume, a ton of shots up. Now, we're not seeing him just yet over on PrizePicks. They haven't uploaded him there, but I will say this, once they do put him up on the board, you should strongly consider some Darius Garland tonight. Drew Holiday, 15.5 points, a 70% hit rate. Not really seeing any action on the over or the under for Drew Holiday yet. Do we have any Milwaukee Bucks up yet? Yes, we do. We do have Drew Holiday up against Charlotte tonight. And let's look at his last 5 games. He's gone over 15.5 points in 4 straight games. So he seems to be picking up the pace here. I believe he started off the season kind of slow on a minutes restriction, minutes limit, but now it seems like he's in full swing. So let's take a look at Drew Holiday. He is a guy who we have not featured a whole lot on these live streams this season. So let's talk about him right now. Let's look at his last 10 games first and foremost. 15.5 points is his line today. And in his last 10 games, 70% of the time, he goes over 15.5 points. He went through a little stretch here from 11-17 to 11-20, where he falls short of today's line of 15.5. But since then, like I said, he's really been picking it up in his last 4 games. 18, 22, 16, barely gets him over 15.5, but then he comes back strong with a 23-point performance against Indiana. Now his averages for the season, not impressive, 14.8, but in the last 10, and especially the last 5, they really have gone up, 16.2, and finally 18 points over his last 5 games. So the scoring averages are starting to get up there for Drew Holiday. Charlotte's defense, you're seeing a lot of green here. This is not a team that we fear. In fact, this is a team that we like to attack and target. Points allowed, they rank 30th. That means they're giving up the most points to opposing teams in the league, almost 115 points per game. Field goal percentage, they are a bottom 5 team, giving up over 46% field goal percentage. 3-pointers allowed, they rank 26, over 13 threes given up, and 16th in 3-point field goal percentage allowed. And they allowed the 26th most free throws allowed. So if you see like Giannis Antetokounmpo up there for his free throw prop, this might not be a bad play here, taking the over on some Giannis free throws in this matchup, as Charlotte they tend to foul a lot from the looks of things. So the only knock against this looks like Drew Holiday's shooting guard defense. They rank 5th against opposing shooting guard. So if you consider Drew Holiday a shooting guard, I think of him more as a point guard for Milwaukee. Probably put like Chris Middleton or Grayson Allen in that shooting guard slot. So I don't know that this is entirely accurate or applicable here to Drew Holiday. Wouldn't be too worried about that. What really gets me excited about this game and taking some overs here, 231 implied points. There's going to be a ton of points put up by both of these teams. We saw the other night when Charlotte and Chicago played. I mean, the totals on that game were just astronomical. They were through the roof. The only worry, the only concern is that if you take any overs on the studs from this game, guys like Drew Holiday, Giannis Antetokounmpo, maybe even a LaMelo Ball type, there is a blowout risk. It's an 8.5-point spread favoring the home team, the Milwaukee Bucks. Drew's minutes are down in the last 5 games versus his last 10 games, playing just 30.5 minutes. I think they will come back up tonight and he'll get more than 30 minutes. Field goal attempts, though, gets about 14 to 15 per game in his last 5 games, and he attempts about 5 3-pointers per game. And even Drew Holiday's getting to the free throw line pretty good here, getting a couple of free throw makes per game. So you kind of get an idea what to expect here with Drew Holiday. This is a very good matchup for all of the Milwaukee Bucks, not just Drew Holiday, but even the likes of Chris Middleton, Giannis Antetokounmpo. I think those are all solid plays tonight. Let's go ahead and type in Drew Holiday's name, get a projection for his points. I got him at 15.3 points tonight, guys, which isn't a strong number if you're considering going over at 15.5, but, not the worst thing in the world. Definitely not the most, discouraging thing. I still think I would lean toward the over. Drew Holiday's really just showing good form in his last 5 games. So let's go back to the trends board here on PropStat Cash. Good morning to everybody who is joining. If I haven't called you out yet, don't worry. I love you. And I will try to get to everybody. Good morning to Will. I see Will's up in here. Daniel Hernandez, good morning to you. Fusion's up in here. Eric, good to see you. Manny V, first time checking out your live. Excited for the info. Good to have you up in here, Manny. Appreciate you joining us this morning. So far, we've talked Tyrese Maxey, Darius Garland, Drew Holiday, all high hit rate guys. Out of those 3, Tyrese Maxey is the one that I would probably tell you to avoid, to fade in terms of points. I wouldn't touch his point prop. Some other names to consider: Trae Young at 26.5 points, 70% hit rate. He's a betting favorite to go over at -114. And Terry Rozier, the other side of this Charlotte-Milwaukee matchup. 17.5 points, 70% hit rate in his last 10 games, and he is a betting favorite at -114 to go for 18 or more points. So those are your high hit rate guys. Let's go down the line here and take a look at some guys who are not getting it done. Eric Gordon at 15.5 points. We've got him up on the PrizePicks board, but he's up at 14.5. Let's take a look at him. We don't talk a ton about unders here. We should probably talk about them a little bit more than we do. So we're going to do that right now with EG, my man Eric Gordon, who is unfortunately on the Houston Rockets. I'm sure he'd like to be on a contender in the late stages of his professional career, but him and John Wall locked in purgatory there in Houston, unfortunately. I'd like to see Eric Gordon go to a contender. I think he could be a solid piece off the bench for somebody who's vying for a championship. But anyway, Eric Gordon, 15.5 points, guys. If you're getting him at 15.5 points, I don't have to say too much here. We're seeing a sea of red, meaning he has not covered 15.5 points in very many games in his last 10 games. In fact, it's just 1 for 10. He's only went over 15.5 points in one game. That was against the Charlotte Hornets, where he dropped 22. So at 15.5 points, yes, definitely continue to smash the under. But on PrizePicks, he's not at 15.5. He's at 14.5, which makes things a little bit more tricky, a little bit more interesting, but nonetheless, just a 30% hit rate when we bump him down to 14.5 points. He's not putting up a ton of points. That is the theme here for Eric Gordon. 13.3 points per game for the season, 12.8 points per game in the last 10, and 13.4 in his last 5. I will say, though, against OKC, if we look at the 3 games against OKC in his game logs this season, he did go over in one of those games at 22 points. If we bump him down to 14.5, you could see that he also went over in another game, barely, with 15. And then he had 11 against OKC when they last met on the 29th, which was just 2 days ago. So overall, about a 67% hit rate at 14.5 points against the Oklahoma City Thunder. A little bit of risk there if you're playing him at 14.5. I like him better at 15.5. Looking at this matchup, look, we know, just covering these player props daily, OKC sucks. They're not a very good team. They rank 12th overall in points allowed, 9th in field goal percentage allowed, 30th in three-pointers allowed, which is dead last, 22nd in three-point field goal percentage allowed, 2nd in free throws allowed. So you probably don't want to play any free throw props against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then 27th in shooting guard defense, one of the worst defensive teams in the league. So if we look at the total here, 214.5 points. Oklahoma City is a 2-point favorite. Eric Gordon here, last 5 games, getting about 32 minutes per game, averaging a little over 31 minutes per game in his matchups against OKC this season. He's getting up about 11 to 12 shots, gets over 12 shots versus OKC in their 3 previous matchups. You get a kind of get an idea of his different 3-point attempts per game. So there you go. Enough about Eric Gordon. Let's go get a projection for you and see what Number Fire has to say on this prop. They got him at 15.1. So again, the 14.5, a bit tricky. Probably wouldn't be playing him under on PrizePicks, but if you play somewhere else, your player prop somewhere else other than PrizePicks, feel free at 15.5 points to take the under with confidence on Eric Gordon. Other guys to consider, you guys have already mentioned them. Darius Bazley, we talked about him in previous shows. This dude just can't score the rock. 9.5 points today. He's been at 10.5 and 11.5 in previous days. PrizePicks is starting to catch on. They've got him down at 9.5 once again, but let's look at him. In his last 5 games, a 0% hit rate, covering 9.5 points. He's just not being asked to score for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Let's pull him up here. Let's take a look and see what happens when we move him from 10.5, which is where he's at on your favorite sportsbook, down to 9.5. Now at 10.5, he's only covered this in 1 out of his last 10 games. That's a 10% hit rate. If we bump him down to 9.5, things stay the same, meaning he's only covered 9.5 points at just a 10% clip. So I think at 10.5 or 9.5, you should feel pretty safe, pretty secure that Darius Bazley's not going to score at least 10. Looking at his averages, 9 points per game, 6.6 points per game in his last 10, 5.6. So his averages are actually dipping down from the 10-game averages to the 5-game averages. And then against Houston this season, 5.3 points per game. He faced Houston in 3 previous matchups, scored 5, 7, and 4. So even against the Rockets, a soft, friendly matchup, Darius Bazley not getting the job done. Going down here, looking at Houston's defense, they're bad, guys. They're bad. We know it. We don't have to go too far into this to relay that message to you. Houston's not a good team. 26th overall, though, in points allowed. 16th in field goal percentage allowed. 25th in three-pointers allowed. 8th in three-point field goal percentage allowed. So that means that the three-pointers are going up, but they're not going in at a high percentage. 27th in free throws allowed and 19th in power forward defense, which is what props.cash classifies Darius Bazley as. So there you go. 214.5 points. We talked about this total 2-point spread. Bazley getting less than 30 minutes per game in his last 5. Actually, he's under 28 minutes per game. And against Houston, he's only played 21.3 minutes in those 3 previous matchups. So he attempts some shots, but he doesn't make them at a very high clip. A very poor shooter. The last time he played Houston, only shot 5 times, went 0 for 5. So yeah, we're not trusting Bazley to score the basketball. At 9.5 or 10.5 points, I think I like the under on both of those numbers. Let's get you a projection, though. They've got him projected at 10.3 points. Definitely cross-reference these projections on Number Fire with RotoWire, with Betting Pros, just to get a better idea, a larger sample size of which way you should go on Darius Bazley in these projections. But nonetheless, I think we gotta get the picture here. Darius Bazley's not gonna score you a ton of points, so going under would probably be my best advice. Looking at some other guys, Chris Duarte for the Indiana Pacers, 13.5 points, 20% hit rate, minus 118 at the moment to go under. Chris Middleton at 18.5 points, 20% hit rate, currently a minus 114 to go under. And Gary Harris of the Magic, 8.5 points, 30% hit rate, but he is a minus 124 to go over, so that'll probably be a fade for me. So those are your top point getters and those who are not getting points for our trends here on props.cash. So let's take a look at the next category here. Thank you so much for everybody who's joining me this morning. If you haven't smashed that like button, I would really, really appreciate you doing so, as we are continuing to hit our goal of 100 likes on every one of these streams. Let's look at these rebound props today. PrizePicks has quite a few up, especially surprisingly, I should say. Let's dig into it. The high hit rate guys, starting that off first. Will Barton at 4.5 boards in his last 10 games, covered it in 80% of those games. Now, a lot of those games were without Nikola Jokic. Jokic is back today, though, and he's up at 12 boards right now. So be careful of Will Barton. The situation has changed for him. He's not currently up on the PrizePicks board for good reason, because he does have a high hit rate. Mo Bamba at 7.5 rebounds seems way too low. Way too low. This seems like a great value here. Let's talk about Mo Bamba here. 7.5 boards. Looking at his game logs, they have been all over the place. Him and Wendell Carter Jr. typically splitting the rebound duties here, but Mo Bamba's got 17, 13 rebound upside. So he has gone over 7.5 boards in the last 5 games. In 2 of those games. Now, I will say this is kind of a little deceiving, because against the Chicago Bulls, I was actually at that game. He pulls in 6 boards, but he did leave that game, didn't get his full run of minutes. He was dealing with some injury issues, so we can kind of throw that one out. and call it maybe like a 50% hit rate in his last 4 games. But yeah, I'm liking some Mo Bamba here at just 7.5 boards. Seems entirely too low. Let's take a closer look at it. Prop.cash has him up at 7.5. Now, at 7.5 rebounds over the last 10 games, a 70% hit rate. He's averaging 9.4 rebounds per game, 10 rebounds per game in his last 10 games, and 9 rebounds in his last 5. Already mentioned that game against Chicago. He was dealing with some injuries. These 2 games against Milwaukee were both blowouts, so that is worth mentioning. Bamba did not get his full run of minutes. So if we take the injury out of there, if we take the 2 games where they were major, massive blowouts against Milwaukee, this dude really has done a great job of rebounding the basketball, and I just think 7.5 boards is way too low. And it looks like the majority of the betting public agrees. He's currently a minus 134 to go over 7.5 rebounds. Looking at this Denver defense, yeah, they're tough on paper. 10th in rebounds allowed, so they're stingy on the glass. 7th in offensive rebounds allowed, 13th in defensive rebounds allowed, and 7th in center defense. Now, this game doesn't have a super sky-high total, just 208 points with the Denver Nuggets visiting Orlando. They are 7.5 point favorites. Mo Bamba here getting about 27 minutes per game. I mentioned that game against Chicago, didn't get his full run of minutes. I mentioned the games against Milwaukee where they were both blowouts. You could see his minutes are down. So that's what's really crippling his minutes per game in his last 5 games. If we look at the last 10, you can see 28 minutes. Even the full season, more of a larger sample size, about 30 minutes. I expect him to get 30 plus minutes, pending he doesn't get in foul trouble, pending those injury issues do not flare up on him tonight. Giving you a picture of how Mo Bamba rebounds. The green represents his offensive rebounds. The red represents the total rebounds. So you kind of get an idea how Mo Bamba does at rebounding the basketball. Okay, so we really like Mo Bamba, or at least I do. I don't know if you guys are on board with Mo Bamba here, but 7.5 boards, just way too low. We've got him at 9.9 rebounds, almost 10 rebounds. That seems more like it. 9 or 10 boards seems like more of the outcome that I expect from Mo Bamba. We take out the blowouts, we take out the injury game against Chicago, and he's been crushing 7.5 rebounds. I think this looks like a very strong way to go. But, I'm just one guy with one opinion. You guys let me know what you think about Mo Bamba. Good morning to everybody who's just now getting here. Thanks for joining the chat. Man, I'm still blown away at Craig, man. Shout out to you, Craig, for that $50 super chat. Totally unexpected, totally not what I expected to run into this morning. But thank you again, Craig. Still taken aback by that. So I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you so much. Phil says he loves the new intro. Very pro. Appreciate that, Phil. Yeah, we're going to continue to make iterative upgrades and changes to the live stream. Hopefully bring even more of those pro features to the live stream. I'm trying to set myself apart from anybody else who's out there doing live streams, trying to carve out my own lane, my own niche. So yeah, appreciate the feedback on that, Phil. Appreciate you, brother. All right, looking at some other ones. Jason Tatum, low-key, has been smashing his rebound prop. He's at 7.5 boards against Philly. In his last 5 games, 8, 7, 8, 13, and 7. So he's been right around that 7 to 8 rebound number. He's covered 7.5 boards in 3 out of his last 5 games. That's a 60% hit rate. In his last 10 games, he's got a 70% hit rate. Now, right now, he is a minus 124 to go under, so be careful with Jason Tatum. But I wanted to point him out because he has been crashing the glass quite a bit, especially with Robert Williams out of the lineup for the Boston Celtics. So other guys to consider, Drew Holiday at 4.5 boards, 70% hit rate. We don't typically think about Drew Holiday as a high volume rebounder, but has been getting it done here in the last 10 games. If we look at his last 5, especially 5, 6, 8, 5, and 7, has gone over 4.5 rebounds in 5 straight. That's a 100% hit rate. So Drew Holiday, 70% hit rate in his last 10 games, 100% hit rate in his last 5. He's definitely one to consider. Chris Middleton's another guy that I've been going to for his rebound props. Pretty decent hit rate in his last 5, going for 5 or more boards in 80% of those last 5 games. So pretty high hit rate for him too. Let's go down here, though, and take a look at some of the low hit rate guys. We got Terry Rozier at 4.5 boards. Is he up on PrizePicks? No, of course not. Why would they do that? 4.5 boards, though, just a 20% hit rate. Betting favorite at minus 150 to go under. Chris Middleton at 5.5 rebounds, 5.5. He's at 5 on PrizePicks, 5.5 out on the sportsbook. 20% hit rate. So he's been getting right around 5 rebounds per game most of the time. So that's why the hit rate at 5.5 is so low. But he is a minus 144 to go under 5.5. Dorian Finney-Smith, another guy not getting it done. 4.5 rebounds, 20% hit rate. Big betting favorite at minus 132 to go under. And finally, Bradley Beal, not known for his rebounds. We've been playing his assists over at 5.5 assists, but his rebounds haven't been really hitting at 5.5, just a 30% hit rate and a minus 140 to go under 5.5 boards. So there you go. There's some rebound props to consider for you. I think out of this bunch, I got to say, my man right here, and I'm not biased. I am an Orlando Magic fan, but Mo Bamba at 7.5 boards. If he's completely healthy tonight, this is I'm going to put him in my lineups. I'm just saying. I like that play. That's probably my favorite rebound play that we've talked about. So assists. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the best dime droppers in the NBA in the last 10 games. We've got Marcus Smart at 5.5 assists. 80% hit rate in his last 10 games, but for whatever reason, he's a big betting favorite to go under 5.5 assists against the Philadelphia 76ers tonight, minus 140. So PrizePicks went ahead. They knocked him down from 5.5 down to 5. So at 5 assists, guys, if PrizePicks wants to go ahead and discount him by half of an assist, I would have to consider taking the over here. Just looking at these game logs, 5 or more assists in 5 straight games. That's a 100% hit rate. And his last 10 games at 5.5, an 80% hit rate. I am not going to take the under on Marcus Smart's assists, but let's look at him a little bit closer. Let's put him under the microscope here and get a better picture of how Marcus Smart's done with 5 assists. Now at 5.5, 80% hit rate, right? We're going to bump this down from 5.5 down to 5. And in his last 10 games, he has gone for 5 or more assists in 100% of his games. So you can see why I like him so much at 5 assists. I think PrizePicks has made a little bit of a mistake or an error here by looking at what the public's doing, betting the under at 5.5 assists. By them putting him down at 5 assists, I think we absolutely have to take him at 5 assists and take the over. Take the over at 5 assists. Dude's just getting it done. 5.7 assists per game and over the course of the season. Those numbers go up to 7.1 assists in his last 10 and 7 assists in his last 5. Why you would take the under on this prop, I have no idea. You're either going to fade it or you're going to take the over, okay? Don't be silly here. Don't overthink this. Let's go down. Philadelphia defense, 15th in assists allowed. So they're kind of middle of the road, middle of the pack, an average team in terms of assists allowed per game. They're giving up 23 to 24 assists to opposing teams. Total's not super high here, 206.5 points. Boston, 3-point favorites at home. He's getting over 33, almost 34 minutes per game. So I'm loving this Marcus Smart assist prop at 5. I mean, I think at worst, you're going to end up in a tie or push situation, but he's shown that he's getting well over 5 assists per game. So I don't know why we would even consider going under on him. His projection tonight, 5.4 dimes, which puts him slightly over 5. So I think he's pretty much a lock here to go for 5 or more assists. I mean, we don't use the word lock. I hate the word lock. Nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is promised with these player props, but it doesn't get any better than this in terms of a player who's hitting their 5 or more assists. So 100% hit rate in his last 10, 100% hit rate in his last 5. What's there to hate here? I don't know. We just got to take the over and hope it continues to work out. Bradley Beal, we mentioned him at 5.5 assists. Currently not up on the PrizePicks board, but if you're going to get him at 5.5 assists today on PrizePicks, 80% hit rate, minus 142 to go over 5.5 assists. Josh Hart, another guy. He's not going to be up on the board either at 3.5 assists, though. He's been dropping dimes, even with Devontae Graham back in the lineup. Josh Hart getting it done. He is currently, though, a minus 134 to go under 3.5 assists. Brandon Ingram's been a guy that I've been playing a lot of his assist prop. They've been hitting more often than not, 80% hit rate over the last 10 games. Currently a big minus 142 to go over 3.5 dimes. And rounding things out here, Nikola Jokic at 6.5 assists. He is up against the Orlando Magic tonight. 70% hit rate. He's still working his way back into the lineup, though. I'd be a little careful with this one. He's sat out from November 18th to the 29th, but, his first game back, he did drop 7 dimes on Miami. So he's been pretty consistent here, 100% hit rate in his last 5 games. So there you go. Those are some assist props to consider taking overs on. If we look at some of the guys who haven't been getting it done, we got Chris Duarte, Jayshawn Tate. Be careful with Jayshawn Tate. I took a shot on him the other night at 2.5 assists. Jalen Green was out, so I understood there was risk. Jayshawn Tate ended up dropping a whole lot of dimes. So that is a very tricky prop. Do not be sucked in. Do not be lured in by the low hit rate here. Jayshawn Tate, his assist will be up with Jalen Green out of the lineup for Houston. Darius Garland at 7.5, just a 30% hit rate, minus 140 to go under that number. Monte Morris at 4.5 assists, minus 154 to go under 4.5. And finally, Jason Tatum, 3.5 assists, just a 40% hit rate, minus 124. So you could take the under on him, but it could be risky. He dropped 10 assists against Toronto in the last game. Otherwise, though, has only covered this prop in just 40% of his games in the last 5. So there you go. There's some assist props to consider. I think we kind of get the idea. My favorite assist is probably going to be Marcus Smart. How you do not take the over at 5 assists, I do not know. So far, my MVPs would probably be Mo Bamba over 7.5 boards and Marcus Smart over 5 assists. It's just looking too good. And can it fail? Yeah, absolutely. It could fail. Another guy that I like is Domantas Sabonis at 4 assists. Looks pretty juicy too. 4, 6, 5 against Milwaukee, 10 against Minnesota in his last game. Falls short here against Toronto. I want to say that they may have gotten blown out there, but I'm not completely sure. But Sabo at 4 assists, not a bad look either. Alrighty, that brings us to 3-point makes. Thank you so much for everybody who's dropping in here. Master Yoda, are you liking Mo Bamba and Marcus Smart? It looks like you are. You're talking about doing a 2-pick power. Love that. 2-pick power. Master Yoda says, I had a feeling you hated the word lock. That's why I always say, what's the plays? Yeah. We don't use the word lock around here because, look, Devin Booker last night at 2 3-point makes could have been probably considered a lock. Did it work out? It did not. He got hurt and left the game. So nothing is promised in this prop player game, unfortunately. Let's look at some 3-point makes, though. Swig of water for me. Daniel Green. Why do I call him Daniel Green? He's Danny. He's Danny Green. 1.5 3-point makes, 80% hit rate. Not going to see him up on the PrizePicks board at that type of hit rate. Contavious Caldwell-Pope of the Washington Wizards. Not a name we've ever talked about on these live streams, but at 1.5 threes, if you could get him, you might want to take him. 80% hit rate, and he's a minus 158 betting favorite right now to go over. Dorian Finney-Smith at 1.5 threes. 80% hit rate, minus 128 to go over. Let's talk about him because if Kristaps Porzingis is truly a game time decision, and if KP6 does not suit up for Dallas, then somebody is going to absorb some of that usage. And why not DFS, Mr. Dorian Finney-Smith himself? So 1.5 threes, 80% hit rate in his last 10 games. In his last 5 games, also representing an 80% hit rate. He's not going to take a ton of threes, so he's got to be efficient with the ones that he does take. He's got to make those. So let's take a look at him. This could be one of those plays where you say, if Kristaps Porzingis is out, then we should take the over on Dorian Finney-Smith. Looking at the averages here for the full season, 1.7 threes made per game, closer to 2 makes than 1, so that's a good look there. Last 10 games, the averages are up, 2.1 3-point makes. He's averaging 2 in his last 5 games, and the last time he faced New Orleans, he's averaging about 2 3-point makes against New Orleans this season. He has one previous game back on November 8th, where he put in exactly 2 3-point makes. So there you go. He's getting it done here. Looking pretty decent. 80% hit rate in the last 10, 80% hit rate in the last 5. Against the New Orleans Pelicans, they are 27th in 3-point field goal percentage allowed. So they're a bottom 3 team. They're giving up a pretty high 3-point field goal percentage, over 37%. 3-pointers allowed, also pretty bad in that metric, 19th in 3-pointers allowed, giving up nearly 13 3-point makes per game. This total's not bad either. 215.5 implied points with the Mavericks on the road as 3-point favorites. Now, his last 5 games, his minutes are up, playing 32.2 minutes per game. And against New Orleans in that previous matchup, ran the floor for about 31 minutes. Now let's look at his three-point attempts since we are talking his three-point prop here. 5.4 three-point attempts in his last 5 games. So just looking at the last 5, he had 6 attempts. Drops all the way down to 3 against the Clippers. Comes back up against the Clippers in a rematch. Shoots the ball 8 times. He's got 4 and 6. So that all averages out to 5.4. Against New Orleans in that first matchup, he attempted 4 threes. So I'd like to see him up around like 5 or more threes. But if he's going to get 5+ threes, he's just got to knock down 2. And if no Kristaps Porzingis tonight, then I think I like this prop. Unfortunately, NumberFire, they don't offer a projection for three-point makes, but check out Betting Pros. That's a free resource for you to go and take a look at what they think, what they project his three-pointers to be at. But he could be an interesting play. Again, that's kind of a wait and see. If Porzingis is out, I'm probably going to take it. Tim Hardaway Jr., maybe he gets some of the usage, but it's hard to trust this guy, even without KP6 in the lineup. Has just been pretty bad here over the last 5 games. 0% hit rate at 2.5 three-point makes. So let's head back to props.cash, see what else is standing out. Reggie Jackson, 2.5 three-point makes. He had let us down 2 games ago. I went right back to it, and he ended up dropping, I think, 4 threes for us. He's not up on the PrizePicks board at the moment, but if they do put him up at 2.5 three-point makes, 80% hit rate, -146 to go over. If we see him, I have a feeling we'll probably see him at 3 three-point makes on PrizePicks. And finally, Spencer Dinwiddie at 1.5 three-point makes, 70% hit rate, -174 to go over. Huge betting favorite to go over. Let's see if there's anybody we can potentially target here to go under on a three-point make prop. John Collins at 1.5. He's not up on the PrizePicks board. He's only covered this in 10% of his games. Huge betting favorite to go under at -180. Jeff Green for the Denver Nuggets. He is on the injury report. He may not even play. We're not even going to worry about him. Seth Curry at 2.5 three-point makes. Also not up on the PrizePicks board, but if we do get him, you might want to go under, especially with Embiid and Tobias Harris back in the lineup. Just a 20% hit rate. He is a -194 to go under 2.5. Al Horford, you don't think of him as a three-point shooter, but he does take some, and sometimes he makes some, but not lately. In the last 10 games, just a 20% hit rate, -154 to go under. And last but not least, our man, Giannis Antetokounmpo, 1.5 three-point makes. Just a 20% hit rate, -220. I guarantee you we will not see him up on the PrizePicks board at 1.5 three-point makes. So there you go. There's your low hit rate, guys. Out of all of these three-point shooters, we don't have a lot of them up on the PrizePicks board, but the only one we really talked about is Dorian Finney-Smith. I mean, you just go with the hit rates here, especially if KP is out, then, he might be my favorite play, but not really loving what I'm seeing at first glance here on a lot of these three-point makes. LaMelo Ball at 2. You could take a shot at LaMelo Ball at 2 three-point makes. 3, 4. He blanks out here against Minnesota. 2 and 3. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at LaMelo Ball against the Milwaukee Bucks at just 2 three-point makes. I think maybe he's worth taking a shot on. So there you go. There's your top hitters and your bottom hitters for three-point props. Let's go over to the chat and see what you guys are talking about. Shout out to Yardy Flex for subscribing to the channel. Will Harris also subscribed to the channel. Thank you guys. You have probably just put me over 2,700 subscribers, which means for the month of December, we need to get 300 new subscribers to get to the 3,000, the 3K mark by January 1st. I think we could do it. If you guys share this, like this, and spread the love around, I think we could absolutely get there. But let's go to the chat. Let's see what you guys are talking about here, what props you're liking, which ones you're not. Back to the top we go. I'm going to buzz through these as quickly as possible. Good morning to everybody who wished me a good morning. If I missed you, I'm sorry. There's a lot of you in here these days. Appreciate all of you liking this stream. Thanks for all the love and support. Oh, let's see. What are we talking about? A lot of people just talking about last night being a bloodbath. Yes, I agree with you, man. Last night was absolutely rough. Like a dog. Rough. Let's see. Jay says he listens to me in the gym every morning, bro. Well, gosh, I don't know if I'm motivating you or holding you back, but hopefully these player props lead you to some success today. Anthony Taylor, new month, let's start it off right. I agree with you, my brother. Anthony is a longtime Patreon supporter. In case you don't know what Patreon is, it's a way for you to support me as a content creator. It's $20 a month, which means you just basically have to win one $10 two-pick power play on PrizePicks, and it pays for itself. But I try to post exclusive content every day to Patreon. Yesterday, I did a write-up on 7 different props that I liked. I usually try to do a betting player prop alpha post every single day, 7 or 8 different props that I'm liking. Also posted some first half sheets. Shout out to Britt. She puts together some cheat sheets once in a while. I help her with those. We upload those to Patreon. So I just find different ways to help you guys with your player prop research over on PrizePicks. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, there's a link down in the description below. You can go and check out the Patreon and decide for yourself if you want to be a part of the community or not. But yeah, Anthony, longtime member of the community. So shout out to you. Appreciate you being here and showing love this morning. Yeah, Hal says the Taco Tuesday Steph Curry prop at 4.5 threes killed me. That was actually one thing that I mentioned in yesterday's Patreon post. I said that, at 4.5 3-point makes, I do not like Steph Curry, even at 4.5 3-point makes against the Phoenix Suns. I think it was in his last 10 games, he was only like a 50% hit rate going against Phoenix at 4.5 3-point makes. So he was a fade for me. Alexa says playing Devin Booker under rebounds in one line saved my night. Well, that's good. I'm glad that worked out. Markel says, hey, CJ cashed out $150 yesterday on a 2-pick power play. Thank you. McCollum and Harden for points. Absolutely, man. Harden and McCollum both had very good games. Harden, of course, was getting it going early. Kevin Durant ended up pulling through. So the Taco Tuesday for the Kevin Durant point prop ended up working out late. I know you guys were sweating that. But CJ McCollum, as soon as Damian Lillard got ruled out, he was pretty much a lock on points. Trill Fate says Basley Day. Yep, fire up some Basley under points. It's just been too good to not take the under. Nick Hunt, what's up to you, bro? Thanks for joining me. Elvin says it was a really bad day yesterday. That seems to kind of be the consensus, the theme from a lot of folks. I did 2 3-pick flex plays, flexing because I just really didn't like the slate. I think I had Van Vliet. He was a guy that really hurt me. I had the over on Van Vliet at 3 3-point makes. I also had the over on Fred Van Vliet at 17.5 points, I want to say. So, yeah, Fred Van Vliet ended up being that guy. But I did take the over on both Desmond Bane points and Desmond Bane's 3-point makes and Jaren Jackson over points. And Jaren Jackson had a heck of a game. So those Grizzlies ended up working out. The Toronto players, Pascal Siakam, another one at 6.5 rebounds, fell short, unfortunately. Dude was at 6 rebounds for like forever. It seemed like forever. And I don't know what happened. Somehow Fred Van Vliet ended up leading the Toronto Raptors in total rebounds, I want to say. It was just crazy madness. I don't know how Siakam didn't get over 6.5 rebounds, but you guys are liking the intro. Appreciate that. Sloan says great vibes on the intro. Says the intro was a vibe. Good. I'm glad you guys are liking the intro. New intro was a 10 out of 10. Remy, appreciate that. Eric says, how long does PrizePicks take to pay out? I withdrew yesterday, still yet to get it. That I don't know. I do not work for PrizePicks. I am sponsored and a partner of them, but I do not know how that process works exactly. So I'd reach out to support on that one. Eric says, Booker softer than AD. Well, I don't know about that. AD's pretty much made of glass at this point. G-Lo says, NBA was mud last night. I agree with you, but you know what? NBA was mud last night, but guess what we're going to do? We're going to get it out the mud today, G-Lo. Hang in there. We're going to win tonight. I have a feeling we're going to have some winning picks come out of this stream. Andy says, a lot of people here right at the beginning. Love seeing the people who deserve it grow. Thank you, Andy Lopez. I appreciate that love. Appreciate everybody who was in here this morning joining me for some player prop research. Marcus likes Josh Hart over assists. Well, yeah, if PrizePicks would stop being cowards and actually put Josh Hart up on assists, I would absolutely like to take some Josh Hart over 3.5 assists. The only assist guy that we have from the New Orleans Pelicans right now is Devontae Graham. And as you can see, I am not loving it. So, yeah, G-Lo, Fred Van Vliet, and Devin Booker killed him. I agree. Killed me too. Christopher Pringle lost $100,000 on Booker and Curry. I don't believe you. You full of it. G-Lo says, what up? What up to you, G-Lo? Todd says, 48-72. It is all in the info. Not sure what that means. Live for Sundays. I have no idea. Live for Sundays. Todd, live for Sundays. 48-72. Not sure. Oh, 48-72 hours to get your money from PrizePicks. I got you. Well, Paulius says he only lost $6. Well, that's not terrible. That's not terrible. What else are we talking about here? Going through the list. Josh Hart and Ingram both covered their assists. I like that, Marcus. I am on board with that. E-Dot, good to see you. What's up to you, my friend? Josh says, good morning. Last night was a bad NBA night. I feel you. Kevin Voigt, good morning. All, let's make a profitable one. Yes. Eric says, CJ needs a beer. I do? Okay. Maybe I'll get a beer then. I didn't know I needed a beer. Remy's liking Christian Wood over 12 rebounds at OKC. He destroys him. 14, 14, and 21 rebounds in his last 3 versus OKC. All right, Remy, you bring up a very good point. Let's talk about Christian Wood over rebounds. We finally get to another prop that you guys are liking here. Sorry, I got to backtrack and show love to everybody who's in here. But let's go ahead and look at this Christian Wood prop at 12 boards. In his last 5, he's gone for 12 or more in 3 out of 5. So 60% hit rate, not terrible, but also not the greatest hit rate in the world. Let's go look at his total rebounds here. Christian Wood, obviously, Houston Rockets. He's at 12.5 out on your favorite sports book. Let's bump him down from 12.5 to 12. Look at his last 10 games, 44% hit rate, 4 out of his last 9. But he is a betting favorite at 12.5 boards at -112 to go over. Now, his averages for the season, 11.8. His averages for the last 10, 11.7. Both are under 12 rebounds. But in his last 5, 13.6 rebounds. Now, look at this number right here, which is what Remy was pointing out. Versus Oklahoma City, 16.3 rebounds, which is a whole heck of a lot more than 12. Let's look at those previous matchups from this season against the Oklahoma City Thunder. 14 boards on October 22nd, 14 on November 17th, and 21 big boards against Oklahoma City just 2 days ago. So yes, playing big guys against the Oklahoma City Thunder has been a good look this season. Also playing bigs against Dallas, also another good look. So you could also go there. I said also a lot right there. But anyway, Christian Wood over 12 rebounds against Oklahoma City has been an absolute lock. I said lock again too. Oops. Looking at this matchup, though, OKC 29th in rebounds allowed, 11th in offensive rebounds, 30th in defensive rebounds. They are a terrible rebounding team. They also rank 30th in power forward defense this game, 214.5 implied points, just a 2-point spread. So, yeah, man, I think Christian Wood, they've bumped him down from 12.5, where he's at on most sports books, to 12 on PrizePicks. I think you go back to Christian Wood against Oklahoma City, he's absolutely had their number. Let's pull up a projection, though. They've got him projected for 12.2 boards, which is slightly more than 12. We must give them credit. Number Fire has him at 12.2. So, yeah, I think going over on Christian Wood at 12 boards could be an absolute move. He's just had the Thunder's number. Adonis Rodriguez, Trae Young points, Embiid points, Jokic points, Luka Doncic points, and Giannis points. Sheesh. 5 different points props that you're really liking. Oh, boy, that's going to be a lot. How about I do this? I'll just pull up some projections on those various players. You like Trae Young? Trae Young's projected for 24.6 points tonight. Giannis, 27.3 points tonight is his projection. You like Embiid? Embiid's at 23.2 projected points. Luka Doncic. Yeah, I like some Doncic, especially if Porzingis is out. 25.8 projected points for Luka. And Jokic. So you like just going with all the superstars, all the best players taking their points props, huh? 24.4 for Jokic. So, man, yeah, you could just fire up all the studs, I guess. Best of luck. What else are we talking about? Band your boy. Good morning to you. Thanks for being here. Craig says, looks interesting. Honestly, Adonis, I'll do a little research and see if they work, bro. Thanks for the picks. Oh, we got our little spammy spam friends spamming them naked folks up in here. Please report those. If you ever see those like spammy ones, I don't know if you guys can report them. Not sure how that works on your end, but if you can report them for spamming the porn up in the chat. Jeff B says Doncic isn't even up on PrizePicks yet. Yeah, that probably has a lot to do with Kristaps Porzingis news. Appreciate all the new subs. Zachary Davis, Connor Falk, Blue Samples. Thanks for subbing, man. I appreciate that. Good to have you guys aboard and being a part of what we're doing here. Basley at 9.5 points now. Yep, Basley has been knocked down. Holiday boards. Yeah, you could definitely go holiday boards, Josh. That looks like a decent play. He's been smacking those 4.5 rebounds. Not mad at that at all. Rozier at 2.5 and PJ Washington at 1.5 over on threes. Is PJ Washington back finally for Charlotte? He's been somebody I have not talked about. Oh, shoot. PJ Washington knocking down the three ball. Look at that. 5 against Minnesota, 3 against Houston, and 5 against Chicago. Dude is a sniper right now. He has not been on my radar whatsoever, but yeah, PJ Washington potentially at 1.5 3-point makes. His last 3 games have been juicy. Juicy. Terry Rozier, you like him at 2.5? Shoot. Man, these boys are shooting on Charlotte. What is going on here? I actually like LaMelo Ball too. 8 against Washington, 3 against Orlando, 3 against Minnesota, 6 against Houston, 6 against Chicago. Boy, oh boy, are they just like sitting back at the 3-point line and sniping or what, man? Let's go look at this matchup because we got a couple of Charlotte Hornet players here who have been slapping those 3-pointers. Let's go look at this game specifically here. We can just filter it out on props.cash. Charlotte versus Milwaukee tonight. Let's start with PJ. This dude is on something else, man. I did not expect to see all that whenever I opened up his game log. Come on, props.cash. You going to load up for us? Maybe let's try Terry Rozier. Boom. I don't know. Maybe PJ Washington doesn't want to come out and play today on props.cash. We'll look at Terry Rozier, though, nonetheless, at 2.5 3-point makes. His last 5 games have been outstanding. Getting 5.2 3-point makes in his last 5. He's currently a betting favorite to go under, though, at minus 120, minus 106 on the over. Let's look at this matchup. Milwaukee, 3rd in 3-point field goal percentage allowed, 20th in total threes allowed. So they give up a low percentage, but I guess they give up a lot of volume in terms of 3-point makes. Nearly 13 3-point makes per game. They're just 25th at defending opposing point guards. So maybe you go Terry Rozier or LaMelo Ball versus PJ Washington. This looks like a pretty soft matchup here for point guards. So whoever you consider the point guard, Terry Rozier, LaMelo Ball, they both kind of play kind of more of a combo guard role. But yeah, Rozier, in terms of his 3-point attempts, this dude shot 16 threes against the Houston Rockets on 11-27. I mean, he's got the green light. He shot 11 against Washington, 11 against Orlando. So yeah, man, these Charlotte boys are out here shooting, man. They're out here shooting. I don't mind those. I don't mind those whatsoever. What else are we talking about here, chat? How do we feel about Basley? He was at 10.5 earlier. Yeah, Fusion, even at 9.5 points, I still think we go under on Darius Basley at 9.5. First time checking it out. Yeah, what's up to you, Manny? Oh, we got Leon who just subscribed to the channel. Thank you, Leon, for the sub, man. Appreciate you being here and being a part of what we're doing every morning. 126 people up in the chat. Zamir, wow. Thank you for letting me know. If you haven't liked this live stream yet, let's get it done. Let's drop a like on this and we'll keep it moving. Sam, you lost so much yesterday. We're going to get so much of that back, man. We gotta bounce back today. I think we've identified some very good spots. Jokic over assists looks juicy, 100% hit rate. Yeah, we touched on Nikola Jokic over those assists at what, 6.5 assists. Yeah, that looked pretty good. We can revisit that one. 10, 9, 7, and 7. So he's not crushing it in his last 3 games. He's not going over 6.5 by a ton. So it might be a sweat. But against Orlando, he could absolutely get it done. I just hope that game doesn't blow out. So be careful with taking any overs on studs like Nikola Jokic in a blowout situation. Josh says, if I play Gordon, I'm sure he will channel his inner Curry. You talking about Eric Gordon? Yeah. Andy says, LaMelo under rebounds might be a move. Might be a move. Yeah, it could be a move. We'll see. LaMelo's been pretty good lately, though, but it seems like Charlotte's finally like getting all their guys back. All of their guys are healthy once again, so you might want to be careful with some of those Charlotte guys. But I do like those 3-point props. Dave Gutierrez, you like Christian Wood over on his threes? He looks to have found his stroke. I think I prefer probably Christian Wood over rebounds, but if you want to take his threes, I guess you could. I think it's a little bit more risky. He hit 2 against Chicago, 2 against Charlotte, and 3 against OKC. I think he's got the Oklahoma City Thunder's number, though, in the rebound category. So I am much more interested in taking the over on his rebounds at 12, especially since we're getting a half a rebound discount on PrizePicks. Will says, whenever Joe Valcat and Jarrett Allen get up on the board, I'm locking in for points along with Embiid and Wood. Centers are balling tonight. Okay, that's a good little tidbit. Thank you, Will, for dropping that. Says Giddey had a horrible overall game last game. I think he does better and hits his rebounds. Well, look, I like going right back to a player prop. When a player prop fails me the game before, and I know a dude has high averages and he's been hitting that player prop with great regularity, I like to go right back to it. And Josh Giddey kind of fits the bill. 8 boards against Boston, 7 against Atlanta, 7 against Utah, 7 against Washington. He falls short against Houston with just 5. So maybe Christian Wood was gobbling up all the rebounds, but maybe we go back to Josh Giddey here in his rebounds. Let's get you a projection on this anyway. He's projected for 7.4 boards. So again, kind of like Jokic in those assists, he hasn't been going well over 6.5. Like he's just barely going over when he does go over. So this could be another one of those props where we end up sweating it throughout the entire game. But then again, Giddey's also shown the ability to come out there and absolutely crush his rebound prop and get it done for us pretty quickly. So another friendly matchup against Houston tonight. But I'm liking Christian Wood's rebounds. Those are looking very good. I appreciate Remy for shouting that one out. Jelani, you agree? Taking Christian Wood over 12.5 boards. Well, he's actually at 12 on PrizePicks, unless they bumped him up. Let's refresh here. Do we still have him at 12 on PrizePicks, or have they bumped him up to 12.5? He's still at 12. So, yeah, you got to take Christian Wood at 12 rebounds on PrizePicks. You guys are loving the intro. Appreciate that. Marcus Smart, 5 assists. Yeah, you got to take that Marcus Smart play. Who's the top point hitters? Well, we talked about them earlier in the show. We can go back to the trends the last 10 games for points. It's been Tyrese Maxey. That's a fade for me with Embiid and Tobias Harris back. That's a little trappy to me. Darius Garland has been getting it done. Drew Holiday's been getting it done. Trae Young's been getting it done. Rozier has been an absolute sniper from 3. Jarrett Allen at 14.5. We got to see where PrizePicks puts him up when they add him to the board. But those are some of your top point hitters to answer that question for you. Yeah, so a lot of those guys are not up on the board at the moment. What else are we talking about? Anthony, good morning to you. Atlanta versus Indiana game. Any props you're liking? I like the Sabonis over 4 assist prop. I think that's a pretty decent look going back to Domantas Sabonis. He's been doing a little bit of everything here for Indiana lately. So I don't mind you taking the over on Sabo at 4 dimes. He's gone for 4 or better in 80% of his games in the last 5 games. So I think Domantas Sabonis could be worth a look. I know it's a love-hate relationship with you guys and Domantas Sabonis, but he's projected for 5.5 assists tonight. 5.5 assists against Atlanta, and he's at 4 right now on PrizePicks. So I think Sabo makes for a pretty decent look from that game. Yeah. Don't say anything too loud for PrizePicks to hear. You got to get them locked in ASAP, guys. You got to lock them in ASAP. These props will change. Absolutely will change. George likes Dorian Finney-Smith under 4 rebounds. Maybe under 4 rebounds with Porzingis in. If Porzingis is out, I don't know. I don't know if I want to go under on those Dorian Finney-Smith rebounds. Adonis says, check out Embiid's points and Jokic points and Luka points. Man, that's, you guys, that's a lot of points. That's a lot of points. Let's look at Jokic's game logs. How about that? 22, that's a miss. And 24, that's also a miss. So I mean, he's got 3 games where he's gone for 25 or more points. That's a 60% hit rate in his last 5 games. Against Orlando, attacking Orlando with opposing big guys has worked out. I just worry about the blowout situation here. I'm a Magic fan. We're not very good. So this could absolutely turn into a blowout. So just be careful with Jokic. Luka points. Luka, yeah, I like Luka again if Kristaps Porzingis is out, but we have to wait and see. As far as I know, he has not been officially ruled out yet. He is a game time decision, but Luka at 26.5 points over in just 2 out of his last 5 games. So just a 40% hit rate for Luka Doncic. Let's pull up the point projection on him, 25.8. They like him to go under 26.5 on Number Fire. So just be careful, guys. Be careful. Do a little bit further research and digging in on some of these props. Who else are we looking at here? Got a lot of props in chat, guys. I'm trying to get through them as quickly as possible. Christian Wood, yep, we like his rebounds. Rozier over 3s for sure. LaMelo or Rozier, Manny, yeah, we like both of those over 3-point props. Tim Hardaway, 0% hit rate on his 3s in his last 5 games. Yeah, he'd probably be a fade for me. I'd take a chance maybe on Dorian Finney-Smith over 3s before I would take a chance on Tim Hardaway Jr. They caught up to LeVert. Rebounds and assists moved down to 6.5. Stay away. Okay. Blaze to the Sky Media Group says, excellent content in my opinion. I appreciate you, Blaze. Trae Young over 2.5 threes. Is that what you're asking on the 2.5? Let's go look at Trae Young at 2.5 against Indiana. He's gone over in 1, 2, 3 out of his last 5, so a 60% hit rate for Trae Young. I can't pull up a projection for you, but check Betting Pros out if you're looking for projections on 3-point makes. But maybe you could go over on Trae Young. It hasn't been, the highest hit rate. Wiggins killed me. Wiggins killed a lot of people, man. As soon as that questionable came up, I was like, oh no. You're telling me Andrew Wiggins is dealing with some kind of injury issue? Phoenix Suns are a tough team. We got to give credit to them. They're a tough team through and through. Peso Lick, I think I said that right. Wendell Carter Jr. boards. Yes. We talked about Mo Bamba's boards at 7.5. Wendell Carter Jr., though, at 8.5. Also been a guy who's been smashing 11, 11, 10, 11, and 12. He's been more consistent than Mo Bamba has been in terms of the rebound props. So if you don't like Mo Bamba at 7.5, well, I don't like you. No, I'm just kidding. If you don't like Mo Bamba at 7.5, you could go to Wendell Carter Jr. Both guys have been doing very good job. But we talked about liking Mo Bamba at 7.5. We've already mentioned it. For those who are just now getting here, though, these Milwaukee games were extreme blowouts. Magic got blown out big time in both of those. And then against Chicago, he did not get his full run of minutes. He was dealing with some injury issues. So I kind of like the value on Mo Bamba at 7.5 boards, a little bit more than Wendell Carter Jr. But just to help you out here, let's go ahead and pull up a projection for Wendell Carter Jr. His rebounds, he's projected at 10 boards. 10 boards for Wendell. And then for Bamba, he's projected at 9.9. Let's just call it 10 boards. Both guys projected for 10 rebounds. So the value play here would be on Mo Bamba at 7.5 rebounds. What else are you mentioning? Yep, Michael, we just talked Wendell Carter's rebounds. Alexa says, never eat the tacos. Kevin Durant's tacos hit. So that one looked good. Smash the bell, everyone. Let's get to 3K. Yeah, hit the likes, hit the subs, hit the notifications, all that stuff. Remy says, I tried to tell you guys, Taco Tuesdays is a trap. Clint Capella rebounds. Yeah, we didn't talk about any Clint Capella. He's at 13 boards versus Indy tonight. If Miles Turner ends up missing this game, then I think we absolutely have to consider Clint Capella, who's at 13 rebounds. He's gone over in 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. So 13 or more rebounds in 5 straight games. We can definitely look at Clint Capella. He's projected for 14.3 boards. So I like him even more if Miles Turner sits for Indiana. Clint Capella has been feasting feasting on the glass. I don't mind that one at all. How's John Collins been doing? 7.5 boards. He's another one you could go to, really. I mean, 80% hit rate, 4 out of his last 5 games. So Collins probably going to be matched up against Sabonis tonight. They got him projected for 8.1 boards. So both of the Atlanta Hawks big guys looking like pretty decent ways to go if you're looking to take a rebound prop. Yep, Siakam got in foul trouble, unfortunately. Debnesh says, hey, CJ, do you have another 100%? I don't know what that means, my friend. We have some props that we like. We talked about Mo Bamba. We talked about liking some of these Hornets guys, like Terry Rozier in terms of his 3-point prop. PJ Washington looked pretty solid. Christian Wood at 12 rebounds looked like a very solid way to go. Maybe you go back to Josh Giddey at 6.5 boards. Clint Capella we just talked about. John Collins we just talked about. We liked Wendell Carter Jr. at 8.5 rebounds. Some of the points props that looked pretty good. Drew Holiday at 15.5 points. He was an option. Ooh, we can't forget our boy Marcus Smart at 5 assists. Gotta love him. So, yeah, those are some options for you. Are they 100%? Hardly, Debnesh. Nothing is a lock, my friend. Nothing is a lock. Marcus wants to know, what website is he using in the video other than PrizePicks? I'm using props.cash. Marcus, if you want props.cash, check out the link down in the description of this video. It's just $19.99 a month. Get you access to NBA, NFL, NHL, and MLB when that comes back around. $19.99 a month. But that's the player prop research site we're using, is props.cash. I've already went over some of the best hit rates of the day, Eric. I've done that. Seth Curry at 13.5 points. Is that what we're talking about with Seth Curry? 13.5 points against Boston. Well, Seth Curry has been getting it done in his last 3 games. I don't know. I mean, in the last 5, he's got an 80% hit rate. Do we trust Seth Curry like ever? I don't really trust him. I think I've been burned by him a little bit too much. They got him projected for 12.6 points. Even if we round up and call it 13, that's less than 13.5. The Embiid and Tobias Harris factor is what's keeping me from really loving Maxey or Seth Curry tonight. So, unknown zinger. Hopefully that answers your question. Panthers likes Wendell rebounds, and he likes Embiid points. Okay. Nick says, thanks again, CJ. Thank you to you. Eric, drink when CJ says also. You know better, man. Don't be doing that to me. Tristan says, how do you like Tyrese Maxey over 3.5 assists? Has cleared 9 the last couple of games since Embiid has been back in. Okay, that could be a very low-key, sneaky prop. He's at 4 assists right now on PrizePicks. Oh, snap. So maybe we take a back seat on Tyrese Maxey's points, but we move to his assists, because the last couple games, as our friend mentioned here, 10 assists versus Minnesota, 9 versus Orlando. Tyrese Maxey dropping some serious dimes here, guys. This could be a good look. He's projected for 4.6 assists, putting him over 4 assists. So, okay. Tyrese Maxey versus Boston. I am not mad at it. I like that. Good call out, Tristan. Appreciate that. Christian Woods over 1.5 threes. Reggie, I don't know about it. I like Christian Woods over 12 rebounds, though. I can tell you that. How do we feel about Clint Capella at 13 boards? We like it. We like it for sure, especially with Miles Turner out. Trae Young's assists. We haven't really talked a whole lot about Trae Young and his assists. He's at 8.5 versus Indiana. He's kind of been up or down, not super consistent at covering 8.5 assists. Just a 60% hit rate in his last 5 games. Not the best hit rate. Let's pull up a projection here for Trae Young. Projected for 9.8. They like him to go for almost 10 assists today, so maybe you go there. Maybe you do. Blue Sample says, no problem. You seem helpful, so I'm here to support. I think I'm helpful. Junior says, love your content, bro. I love you. Thanks, Junior. Appreciate that love. Giannis over boards. Milwaukee taking on, who are they playing again tonight? Shoot. Charlotte. Yeah. Charlotte without Mason Plumlee. So you could definitely attack Charlotte with opposing big guys. I consider Giannis Antetokounmpo to be a big guy. So you could go with him. You could also maybe look at Bobby Portis, who should have a pretty good game against Charlotte. Charlotte's been really bad on the inside, guys. Been really bad on the interior. So Giannis is projected for 12.7 boards. Bobby Portis projected for 9.9 rebounds. So maybe a little bit more value in terms of just looking at the raw projections here. Bobby Portis projected for almost 10 rebounds. He's at 8.5. So the projections, the bigger edge would be for Bobby Portis over 8.5 rebounds. Aaron Gordon, the best play for fantasy. Well, that's interesting. You might want to take a look at Aaron Gordon. What other props are we talking about that we have not already mentioned? Domantas Sabonis over assists. We like that. Sabonis over rebounds. I think I like his assists a little bit more. Zubac is basically printing money at 7.5 rebounds. Yeah, Zubac has been pretty good. I don't mind some Zubac. Aaron Gordon revenge game? Maybe. I don't know, man. I think the revenge game's good on the first time they play that opposing team. But will Aaron Gordon be motivated tonight against his former squad, the Orlando Magic? Probably, but screw Aaron Gordon. What else are we talking about here? Just scrolling through the last few of these. Yeah, Tyrese Maxey's assists hitting, Wendell Carter Jr.'s rebounds, PJ Washington threes. We've talked about all of these. Clint Capella points. I think I maybe would like his rebounds a little bit better. Jimmy says, when do you typically post on Patreon? Just subscribed last night. I saw that, Jimmy. Thank you for subscribing on Patreon and supporting me. I typically post at least an hour, sometimes a lot earlier than that before tip-off. So hopefully that answers your question. Younger Curry 15. Are you like a younger version of me or like a younger version of Steph Curry or Seth Curry? I don't know what that means. Can you look at LeVert's matchup today? They have his fantasy points at 32 fantasy points. He's only hit that number twice. It seems way too high, averaging 24 fantasy points. Yeah, we haven't talked a ton about fantasy points today, but Caris LeVert at 32 fantasy points. You bring up a very good point. He's 0 for his last 5 in covering 32 fantasy points. His projected fantasy points, according to Numberfire, they've got him at 32.5. So that, pretty close there, 32.5 versus 32. But yeah, I would probably lean toward the under and say, hey, Caris LeVert, prove it. Prove that you can go over 32 fantasy points, because he hasn't proven that he can. Say Day. Is Mo Bamba rebounds a go? It's a go for me. I think it has to be a go. Mo Bamba and Wendell Carter Jr. Like I said, if you take out the 2 blowouts for Mo Bamba, if you take out that other game where he was injured against Chicago, dude's been going over 7.5 rebounds in every single game. So, Casey Wynn, what do you think about Gordon Hayward's points tonight? I feel like Drew will be on Rozier and Chris Middleton will be on LaMelo Ball. The Hornets are a really, really difficult team to project. I mean, they've got guys splashing threes. You got Rozier, you got LaMelo Ball, you got PJ Washington, you got Gordon Hayward. I mean, just a lot of different ways you could go for the Charlotte Hornets. So I don't really ever know what to think. Who's going to step up on any given night? Kevin Porter Jr. averaging 10 assists per game versus OKC. I think that's a very good point. I played Kevin Porter Jr. the other night at 6 assists. He is now at 6.5 assists today. I think you could definitely look at Kevin Porter Jr. He's been the top assist man, especially with Jalen Green out of the lineup for Houston. Kevin Porter Jr. projected for 6 assists today, so they like him to go slightly under, but look at his last 3 games, 9, 12, and 11. And as you mentioned, against OKC, he's really been getting the job done. So Kevin Porter Jr. over assists, maybe Christian Wood over rebounds against Oklahoma City. Yeah, Kevin Lau, going back to Josh Giddey's rebounds, not a bad move. I don't mind that. Jonas Valanciunas, back-to-back good games, especially going against Dallas. Might have to look at his points, rebounds, or fantasy points. Yes, Jonas Valanciunas against the Dallas Mavericks could be a very good play. We've been attacking the Dallas Mavericks with opposing big men all season long. At least I have. Hopefully you have been too. So I could see Joe Val having a very good game against Dallas. Let's take these last couple ones. Zach likes Darius Bazley under points, even at 9.5 points. I have to say yes to that, going under. Derek says, what do you think of Terry Rozier over for threes? We talked about him. We like him. He's been absolutely wet from beyond the arc. PJ Washington, another move if you don't want to go Terry Rozier over on his 3-point prop. Jonas rebounds are really looking good. Capella points or boards. Give me Capella boards. 100% hit rate in his last 5 games. That's going to be it for me, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed everything today. Hopefully we landed on some winning props. 9 games to look at. I'm sure more props will be added to the PrizePicks board. So go check out prizepicks.com. Use promo code Curry to make your first deposit. We're going to double your money for you instantly if you haven't done that yet. But I'm going to get out of here. This live stream, once again, has gone for nearly 90 minutes. I never intend for them to go this long. I just lose track of time trying to help as many of you as I can. So hopefully you appreciate it. And if you do, drop a like on this video. This has been CJ, aka Curry, aka the prop god. Some of you people call me the prop god. Boards or rebounds, Debnesh? Boards or rebounds? I'm out of here, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out.